Most poker mistakes don't happen on the river. They start way earlier. We're talking pre-flop. We look down at a hand like King Jack offsuit and we ask the most dangerous question in poker. Can I play this? And the answer is usually, well, it depends. Today we're going to talk about why it depends, and we're going to simplify pre-flop strategies. Because if we can clean up our pre-flop decisions, the rest of the hand gets a whole lot easier. This is Pre-Flop Ranges Made Simple. Roll intro. Hi everyone, I'm Old Man Chris, and this is GTO for OMC. I'm bringing you along on my journey to learn game theory optimal poker concepts and simplify them for real players, beginners, recreationals, and old man coffee players just like me. Let's incorporate these concepts into our game so we can crush cash games and run deep in tournaments. Today we're talking about pre-flop strategy and pre-flop ranges. And if you're new to poker strategy, the word range may sound more complicated than it really is. A range is just the group of hands a player can have. That's it. When we say, I raised under the gun with a tight range, we mean we are only raising strong hands from early position. When we say, the button can open a wide range, we mean the button can raise with more hands because they have position. Pre-flop ranges are not about memorizing every hand perfectly, they are about understanding a few simple ideas. First and foremost, position matters. Earlier position means tighter ranges, later position means wider ranges. Second, raising is almost always better than limping. Third, when there is a raise ahead of you, you should be very selective in determining whether to call. And finally, playing too many hands, especially out of position, is one of the fastest ways to lose chips. So today we're going to build a simple pre-flop framework that you can actually use. As is always the case, our goal is to simplify modern poker concepts. With that being said, today's episode has a heavy concentration of ranges. In order to demonstrate players' ranges by position at the table, I'll be including range charts from GTO Wizard. Some of you in the comments have expressed interest in taking your knowledge of GTO concepts to the next level. And if so, I can't recommend GTO Wizard highly enough. I've been using their software for well over a year now, and it's the foundation for everything I've learned and everything I share on this channel. If you utilize the GTO for OMC affiliate link in the description, you'll receive 10% off your subscription and you'll be supporting the channel as well. Okay, let's start simple. What is a pre-flop range? A pre-flop range is the set of hands you choose to play before the flop. For example, if you raise from early position in the middle stages of a multi-table tournament, your range might include hands like premium pairs, aces, kings, queens, and jacks, some other pocket pairs, ace-king, ace-queen, ace-jack, most suited ace-x, suited Broadway hands, and a few others at the upper left of our range chart. That's a tight range. But if you're on the button and everyone folds to you, your range can include many more hands. All of the combinations in early position, along with a bunch of other starting hands. All suited ace-x, king-x, and queen-x, every pocket pair including deuces, any suited connector including some gapped connectors such as 6-4 suited. That's a much wider range. The reason is simple. Position. Position is the biggest driver of pre-flop ranges. The earlier you act, the more players are left behind you. The more players behind you, the more likely someone has a strong hand. So you need to be tighter. The later you act, there are fewer players left behind you. And if you're on the button, you get to act last after the flop. That's powerful. Here's the mindset shift. Most beginners ask, can I play this hand? Better players ask, can I profitably play this hand from this position against these players? That's a very different question. In a multi-table tournament setting, Queen 10 offsuit might be a perfectly fine open from the cutoff or button, but under the gun at a full table, that can get you into trouble. Ace 9 offsuit under the gun +1 in a 1-3 cash game might look pretty. It has an ace. It feels playable. But if you raise from early position and get called, or worse, raised by better aces, you are often dominated. That means when you hit your ace, you can still be behind. This is one of the biggest beginner leaks. Playing hands that look good, but make second best hands. 100 blinds deep in a 9-handed cash game, hands like ace-jack offsuit from early position, king-jack offsuit, queen-jack offsuit, king-10 offsuit. These hands can win pots, but they can also create expensive problems. The goal pre-flop is not to play every hand that looks playable. The goal is to enter pots with hands that make money over time. So let's simplify position by dividing the table into 3 areas. Early position, middle position, late position. Early position means you are one of the first players to act. This is where you should be tight. Think strong pairs, strong aces, and strong Broadway hands. Middle position gives you a little more flexibility. You can add more suited Broadway hands, more pocket pairs, and some stronger suited connectors. Late position is where you can play the widest range, especially the cutoff and button. This is where hands like suited aces, suited kings, suited connectors, and more Broadways become profitable because you often have position after the flop. And then there are the blinds. The blinds are tricky. Yes, you already have money invested, but you are also out of position after the flop. That means you should not defend just because you are getting a discount. Discounts are great at the grocery store. They are dangerous in poker. A cheap bad call is still a bad call. Let's make this practical. From early position, think premiums and strong hands. Do not get fancy. From middle position, you can add more pocket pairs and some suited connectors. From late position, especially the button, you can widen up. You can play more suited ace X, more suited king X, more suited connectors, more pocket pairs, more hands that benefit from position. But here's the key. Wider does not mean reckless. The button is not a permission slip to play complete garbage. It means you can play more hands because position makes those hands easier to play profitably. Here is another huge point. Opening a hand and calling a raise with a hand are not the same thing. Let's say you're on the button with king-queen offsuit. Everyone folds to you. That might be a fine open. You raise, you can win the blinds, and you have position. But now imagine an early position player raises first. You're on the button with the same king-queen offsuit. Can you call? Maybe sometimes, but it is much more dangerous. Why? Because the early position raiser should have a stronger range. They can have aces, kings, queens, ace-king, ace-queen. Your hand could be dominated. This is where OMCs get in trouble. They think, I would open with this hand, so I can call with it. Not always. Calling a raise requires a stronger, more careful range because someone has already shown strength. Now let's talk about 3-betting. A 3-bet is simply re-raising before the flop. Here's an example. Someone raises to $15, you re-raise to $45. That's a 3-bet. A simple 3-betting strategy includes 2 types of hands, value hands and bluffs. For OMCs and beginners, let's start with value. Hands like pocket aces, pocket kings, pocket queens, ace king, sometimes pocket jacks or ace queen depending on position and opponent. Against players who call too much, your 3-bets should be more value heavy. Do not try to run fancy 3-bet bluffs against people who refuse to fold. We talked about the calling station in our last video. Against players who open too wide and fold too much to 3-bets, now you can add some bluffs. Good 3-bet bluff candidates are hands that have blockers and play okay when called, like ace-5 suited, ace-4 suited, but keep it simple at first. If you look at range charts, you may see suggestions to 3-bet with king-5 suited, for example. Let's not worry about the logic behind those scenarios, as it's pretty advanced. If you're new, your 3-bet strategy should be mostly value. Then add bluffs gradually as you understand opponents better. But remember, if you only 3-bet with aces, kings, queens, and ace-king, then you're going to become predictable and exploitable. Now let's adjust for small stakes games. If you watched last week's video, you learned about the nit, the calling station, the maniac, and the limper. In small stakes cash games, the limper is everywhere. That means we should usually do 3 things: play stronger hands, raise more often, and value bet relentlessly when we connect. If 5 people are calling every raise, you don't need to open weak hands just because a chart says they are possible. Tighten up a little bit. Open hands that perform well multi-way. Big pairs, strong aces, suited broadways, pocket pairs when stacks are deep, suited connectors in position. But be careful with weak offsuit broadways. Hands like king-10 offsuit or queen-jack offsuit can get you into trouble multi-way. Also, when people limp, isolate with strong hands. If you're in a 1-3 game and 4 players limp to you on the button with ace-queen suited, don't just call, raise, make them pay. But do not isolate too light if they never fold. If they're going to call anyway, bring better hands to the fight. Let's turn our attention to tournaments. Pre-flop ranges also change based on stack depth. When stacks are deep, you can play more speculative hands in position. Pocket pairs, suited connectors, suited ace-x. Hands that can make big hands and win big pots. But as stacks get shorter, those hands lose value. When you have 15 to 25 big blinds, you can't call raises just to see a flop. There's not enough room. Now hands with high card strength become more important. Ace-king, ace-queen, pocket pairs. Hands that can raise, shove, or call all in profitably. The shorter the stack, the more pre-flop decisions become about fold equity and all-in equity. This is why calling too much with short stacks is a disaster. If you have 18 big blinds and call a raise with 6-7 suited, what's the plan? Flop a miracle? Hope nobody bets? That's not a plan. At shorter stacks, we want to raise, shove, or fold more often, not flat call ourselves into awkward spots. Now let's go through the 7 common OMC pre-flop mistakes. Mistake number 1, playing too many hands from early position. You're not being active, you're creating problems. Mistake number 2, calling raises with dominated hands. Ace-10 offsuit, King-Jack offsuit, Queen-Jack offsuit. These can be trouble hands against strong ranges. Mistake number 3, defending the blinds too wide. Yes, you get a discount. No, you don't have to defend trash. Mistake number 4, limping as the first one into the pot. Raise or fold. Keep it simple. Mistake number 5, not raising big enough over limpers. If they want to call with weak hands, charge them. Mistake number 6, calling too much with short stacks in tournaments. Short stacks need clean decisions. Mistake number 7, using charts without understanding why. Range charts are extremely useful, but position, opponents, stack depth, and game type still matter. Let's use one hand to show how position changes everything. You're in the middle stages of a tournament, and most players have around 30 to 40 big blinds. You look down at King of Spades, 9 of Clubs. Under the gun at a full table? That's a fold 100% of the time. There's too many players behind. Too many stronger hands can show up. Middle position? Maybe playable depending on the table dynamics. Cutoff? Usually playable as an open if action has been folded to you. Button? Very playable as an open. Small blind? You could raise and you could also call. Consider the aggressiveness of the big blind when determining what to do. Now, what if someone already raised? Early position raise before you? Be careful. King 9 is likely dominated. Button open before you in the big blind? Now defending or even re-raising may be reasonable depending on sizing and stacks. Same hand, different position, different action, different decision. That's the whole point of ranges. We're not asking is King 9 offsuit good, we're asking is King 9 profitable in this exact situation. Let's simplify this into one of our OMC cheat sheets. Early position, play tight. Strong pairs, strong aces, strong broadways. Middle position, add some suited broadways, pocket pairs, better suited connectors. Late position, open wider, use position, attack blinds. In the blinds, defend carefully. Don't use the discount as an excuse to play marginal hands. First in the pot, raise or fold. Facing a raise, tighten up, respect early position openers. Against limpers, raise strong hands for value. Against calling stations, play stronger ranges and value bet. In tournaments, shorter stacks mean fewer speculative calls. And the golden rule, position decides how wide you can play. Pre-flop ranges don't have to be overwhelming. You don't need to memorize every combination. You don't need to become a chart robot. But you do need a plan, because when you play too many hands before the flop, you're creating problems after the flop. You get dominated. You play out of position. You call too much. You chase too much. And then by the river, you're wondering how you got into such an ugly spot. The answer usually started pre-flop. So keep it simple and stop playing random hands just because they look pretty. If this video helped, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. What pre-flop hand gives you the most trouble? Ace-Jack? King-Jack? Small pocket pairs? Suited connectors? Let me know in the comments and we'll keep learning together. I'm Old Man Chris. This is GTO for OMC. And remember, better poker starts before the flop. I'll see you in the next one.